Hi, it's Marina J. When somebody like you tries to see the good in people, you continue to put yourself in harm's way. So we need to stop seeing the good in people. Now, I know that's how you are made. I know that that's just part of who you are. I also know that some of it might be some programming in there too. Right? There are some of these spiritual concepts that say, see the good in everyone. We try to be positive and not negative and all that stuff. So that might be some programming in there too. But for a lot of us light beings, right, we just came onto the planet, didn't we? We were born and we just were sort of bright lights. And we're like, you know what? I'm just going to see you as I know you can be. And when we do that, when we try to see the good in everyone, no matter their response, what happens to you? You keep trying with them, don't you? You keep trying. So maybe you go, you know what? I'm just going to call them quickly and check in and see how they are. You know what? I'm just going to explain this to them more, show them how much something has upset me or hurt me so that they will finally get it. They'll finally have empathy. They'll finally see me. They'll finally get it. When you've had narcissistic abuse, that abuse initially began, and when it initially began, you would have found it very, very painful and very scary and all the things. And then at some point you got used to it. And so then you end up having more people in your life that maybe are narcissistic until you finally clear and heal it. When someone like you keeps choosing to only see the good in people, you don't actually see what that's doing to you and how much that's hurting you and how much you lose your power every time you do to actually discern. And so when we only see the good in people, we don't actually see the bad in people. Can you see the bad in them too? Like, are you willing to go there? Are you willing to see the ugly? Are you willing to see how unloving, how toxic, how horrible it is? Because although somebody is not all horrible, right? Everybody has good and beautiful parts. If that's all we see, we're going to put ourselves in harm's way. We're going to put our children in harm's way. We're going to put situations in harm's way, right? We're not actually going to make the right decisions for ourselves because we're not truly seeing the truth. When you only choose to see the positive in somebody, you might find that you will keep getting lessons where you're disappointed by people over and over and over again, so that you begin to become very present when you're with people to feel how they affect you. Otherwise, you're making it all about them, let alone whether they're making it all about them. You're making it all about them. You're making it all about the relationship, trying to make them see, trying to make them get it, trying to improve the relationship, right? Because you're such a beautiful soul. But in doing so, you're not seeing the feedback. You're not seeing the energy. You're not seeing actually how they treat you. So when we try and see the good in people, ultimately, it hurts us. Can you see not just the good? Can you see the bad? Can you see the ugly? If you're somebody that tries not to or doesn't like it, notice if you actually see the truth, because narcissists don't want to see the truth, right? They don't want to see the truth. But on the other side of it, notice, are you willing to see the truth as to who these people actually are, right? Yeah, they could be your mom. Yeah, they could be your dad. Yeah, they could be your brother. Yeah, they could be your sister. Yeah, they could be your best friend, your husband, your lover, your partner, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. Yeah, all these people, right? Your work colleague, your best friend, your neighbor. It could be all these people. But are you willing to actually see who they are? So you stop gaslighting yourself, beautiful soul. You're meant to be in your power. You're meant to believe how you feel when you are on the other end of that interaction with them. So when you try to see the good in people, you will lose your power of discernment. You will give your power away. You will say yes to another round with a narcissist rather than saying no. You will continue to see the good in them. You will continue to make excuses for them. You will continue to put yourself in harm's way, knowing full well that the mop-up that happens, that has to happen after you see them, can take you out for a whole week, a whole month, a whole year, right? Because we can lose parts of ourselves to this. So one of the things that's so important is to be able to be comfortable with our shadow. And I've trained in shadow alchemy, shadow work. I've coached in shadow work for 20 years. And one of the most important aspects of my work in helping people flourish after narcissistic abuse is to be able to deal with the feelings they have inside of them that aren't so nice, where you are not just seeing the good in people, you're actually going, wow, you're actually a really horrible person. You have no empathy. You're really ugly to me. And you've hurt so many people. And sometimes when we actually have these genuine feelings, this genuine clarity as to who people are, and again, it's not all of who they are, but it's who they're showing to us, right? Then we go, okay, if I don't like these feelings in me, how can I deal with these feelings? And that's shadow work. When you know how to feel the ugly feelings inside and actually know how to transmute them back into the light, you won't need to have rose-colored glasses on and be like Pollyanna and see everybody in the brightest, beautiful light, because all you're seeing, right, is their highest potential. All you're seeing is their higher selves. Great. But the human self is battling the higher self, right? And who are you dealing with? You're not dealing with their higher self. You're dealing with the human self. It's the human self that's hurting you. So yeah, when you see the good in people, you try and see the good in people, can you reframe that too? I try to see the higher self in people, but I'm also going to see the people, right? So I'm trying to see the higher self, but I'm going to be brave enough to deal with the feelings that come up in me, to deal with the human that's in front of me, right? Because that's who they're choosing to be. And their higher self will trickle in the more they heal. But the one thing we know about narcissists is because everybody else is to blame, they don't heal. So we're not going to wait for that, right? We're not going to wait for that. We're going to believe them. We're going to go, you know what? I believe you. I believe who you're being to me right now. I'm not going to try and change it. I'm not going to try and make you see. I'm not going to try and make it better. I'm not going to try and fix this relationship because that's your work, not mine, right? I've done everything I can do. And I'm not going to continue to see the good in you if it's going to be at my expense, if it's going to hurt me and my family, because I love us too much. I'm going to believe what you say. I'm going to believe your actions, and then I'm going to react accordingly, right? And in that way, you're no longer trying to see the good in people. You don't need to be a good person to do that. You're going to be a good person when you see the truth. Because when you try and hold the truth up to a narcissist and they don't want it, you've also got to be able to see the truth of a relationship and actually see it. Don't bat it away, right? Actually see it and understand that when someone like you chooses to see their higher self and honor that, but also see their human selves, right? And respond and react to that, there's the truth that will set you free. I hope this really, really supports you on your healing journey. You can flourish from after narcissistic abuse. You can flourish right now. And it begins with being incredibly honest with yourself. No more trying to see the good in people. I've tried it. Oh my goodness. I've tried it for years and years and years and years and years, and it never worked. All it did was get me too far into relationships that I then had to get myself out of because I wasn't willing to see the signs. Somebody like you, stop trying to see the good and start seeing the truth. And whatever feelings that evokes in you, go into shadow work or heal, however you like to heal, so that you continue to see the truth, right? Without re-traumatizing yourself, so that you can make the right decisions for you that will continue allowing you to shine your beautiful light. So much love for you all. Loads of love.